Welcome back to October, the sports equinox of the year. While all major leagues are in action, one of them stands out, and of course, it's postseason baseball. Baseball is nothing like the three other major sports in North America. They play on a diamond. There's no net or goal you're trying to score on. It's in a league of itself. But what if I can make the NFL more like baseball? Now, I did put this idea to the test last season, but this video was such a mess. I was recording it with this setup 4 hours away from home thanks to a hurricane, so I figured it deserved a polished remake here in Madden 26. To start, we need to know the basics. The MLB has a regular season of 162 games. That is nearly 10 times the amount of the NFL in a measly 17. I also want to follow the MLB's alignment with conferences and leagues as close as I can. As you can see, these are the current MLB divisions, broken up to two leagues, the American and the National, with the three divisions of each being the East, Central, and West. There is a slight issue replicating this, however, as the MLB has 30 teams, the NFL has 32, which means the divisions won't be completely balanced. And nothing has changed in this department compared to last year. We'll start out west with the NFC West, which has the San Francisco 49ers, the Arizona Cardinals, the Los Angeles Rams, the Seattle Seahawks, and then the newcomer is the Dallas Cowboys. So it's literally the NFC West, except they add the Dallas Cowboys for the fifth team in this division. Now here is where the divisions will get a little unbalanced, as I said, as we'll head to the NFC Central. This one is going to have 6 teams compared to 5. We have the Minnesota Vikings, the Detroit Lions, the Green Bay Packers, the Chicago Bears, the New Orleans Saints, and the Tennessee Titans. So it's essentially the NFC North and then two kind of random teams. It's the best I could do geographically while also staying true to the current divisions and how they work in the current NFL. And then the last division in the NFC is the NFC East, which is the Philadelphia Eagles, the New York Giants, the Washington Commanders, the Atlanta Falcons, and the Carolina Panthers. So similar to the NFC East, except obviously they lose the Cowboys, and they'll pick up 2 teams from the disbanded South, being the Falcons and Panthers. Now here's the AFC. With the AFC West, you have the Kansas City Chiefs, the Los Angeles Chargers, the Las Vegas Raiders, the Denver Broncos, and the Houston Texans. The exact same story as the other West division. It's the same division, and they'll add one team from Texas. This time it's the Texans. And then for the Central in the AFC, it's going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Baltimore Ravens, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Cleveland Browns, the Indianapolis Colts, and the Buffalo Bills. So this division's kind of like a Great Lakes division, and of course, it's all the North teams again, and then 2 randoms. You could say the Colts is Central, but I don't know about the Bills. But let's go to the AFC East, which has the New York Jets, the Miami Dolphins, the New England Patriots, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Jacksonville Jaguars. So the similar to the AFC East that currently exists, and they're going to pick up 2 teams from Florida, being the Bucs and Jaguars. Now here is where I wanted to try something new with this idea. The pitcher is widely considered as the most important position in baseball, so much that teams carry a rotation and bullpen to allow their starting aces to have the days off. In football, the most important position is quarterback, but the difference there is that they're expected to play every single game. So with 162 games in mind, what if the NFL had a rotation of quarterbacks? Each NFL team will have a rotation of 3 starting quarterbacks all throughout the season. So just using a few teams as an example, the Los Angeles Rams will have Matthew Stafford, Jimmy Garoppolo, and then Stetson Bennett. The Cincinnati Bengals will have Joe Burrow, Joe Flacco, and Jake Browning. The Cleveland Browns will have Dylan Gabriel, Deshaun Watson, and Shedeur Sanders in the rotation. And the New York Giants will have Jackson Dart, Russell Wilson, and Jameis Winston. And then on top of all this, I will be stat tracking for a good bit of skill position players, such as receivers and running backs. And I will be rewarding things such as MVPs for both leagues and a Cy Young Award, which is given to the best pitchers, but in this case, the best quarterback in both leagues as well. And as for the playoffs, there's a lot to unpack there, so I will just take this game by game until we reach that point. Now, of course, a 162 game season requires a lot of playing to be done, but not as much playing you could be doing if you get on the action over at Underdog Fantasy, where if you use my promo code ALLCAPSDEAN, you can play $5 and receive $100 in bonus funds or bonus entries. And for new users who use my promo code, you'll get a non-expiring gimme pick. Right now, it's JJ McCarthy, whose projection is only 0, giving you a sweat-free entry. This gimme pick might be a different player by the time you're watching this video, but that's because they rotate players frequently. Underdog Fantasy has a wide variety of games you can play, including pick'ems, where I'm going to add Aaron Rodgers to my lineup to throw higher than 1.5 passing touchdowns. I'm going to add Joe Flacco to this lineup as well, throwing lower than 236.5 passing yards. And then I can add the current gimme pick, which is currently Jalen Warren, set at 0.0 rush and receiving yards. And if I was to play $5 just like you new users, you would get $100 in bonus funds. Pick'em will be available to you in the Underdog eligible states shown here, alongside Underdog champions in the current highlighted states, which is similar to Pick'em, but you get to play online against real people. There's a lot of playing to be done over at Underdog Fantasy, so once again, a $5 play will grant you $100 in bonus funds or bonus entries using my promo code DEAN. You can head over to the link in the description to claim this bonus. A huge thanks for Underdog Fantasy for being today's video sponsor. Now, let's continue as we jump to the start of the season. So on to the 162 game season, where you can see all the normal starting quarterbacks will start for the first 17 games for all the teams. And we'll just see how they perform in this first 17-game stretch. While it's simulating, just for proof I'm not fabricating any numbers, here's the most corporate 9-to-5 thing you'll see on my channel. Don't tell me get a real job. I'm working an Excel spreadsheet right here, a bunch of tables for all the numbers I'm keeping track of. Don't worry, you won't see this again. Through our first stretch of 17 games, the Green Bay Packers are off to the best start. That's pretty good for them too, because their second quarterback up next will be Malik Willis, and we know he's actually pretty good. But in a universe where Lamar Jackson did not get injured, the Ravens don't actually suck here, as they're going 15-2. Baker Mayfield was able to win 14 games in their first 17. And who's off to the worst start of the regular season so far? The New Orleans Saints, winning 2 out of 17. Mahomes is off to his best passing start so far. That's good for his Cy Young campaign. Derrick Henry, the best rusher through 17 games. And Puka Nacua is the best receiver through 17 games with almost 100 catches. I expect him to get a lot of receptions through this regular season. So through our first 17 games of the schedule, this is what the AFC looks like broken up into the West, Central, and East. We already talked about how the Ravens, Bills, and Buccaneers are the best teams in the AFC, but the Steelers, of course, went 9-8. The jokes just write themselves. It's also never too early to start talking about playoffs, and which I guess I'll explain a little bit how the MLB does it. So the 3 division leaders will all make the playoffs. So right now it's the Ravens, the Buccaneers, and the Chiefs, where the top 2 of them will get a bye. Then you'll have 3 wild card spots at the bottom in green. The 3rd division winner will play the 3rd wild card, and the 1st wild card will host the 2nd wild card. And then you have in the hunt the teams currently outside the picture looking in. How does the NFC look? Very top heavy, especially the NFC Central at the moment, with 3 teams with a record of 2-15. The Chicago Bears are one of them, surprisingly. They have more wins in real life at the moment than this, which makes 0 sense if you ask me. But the Packers 15-2, the complete opposite of that. Look at the New York Giants and Jackson Dart starting out, currently leading the East at 10-7. So the playoff picture will look something like this, with the Packers and Niners currently holding the bye, and the Rams at 10-7 are the last team out of the picture, tied the Cowboys and Lions in the wild card. Alright, so here's where things will start to get interesting, as we're about to simulate up to game 34, and we've reached the second rotation of quarterbacks. You can see most of these are all the backups in the current league, and like I said, some teams will actually have a pretty solid rotation, like Mac Jones actually is the starter right now due to Brock Purdy injury in real life. Some teams, however, will just need to close their eyes for this 17-game stretch. Let's just see what happens for the second rotation of quarterbacks. You know, I'm not surprised the 49ers are off to a hot start, thanks to Brock Purdy being their starter and Mac Jones being their second option. They went 15-2 in this stretch, and they're looking like one of the best teams today. Shout out to the Giants as well, who are doing pretty solid. Jackson Dart started for them first. I think Russell Wilson is their second option, so they actually might be a pretty good team as well. But for some teams, you can see the juxtaposition. As for the Rams, for example, they started 10-7. They went 6-11 with this stretch as Jimmy Garoppolo as their starter, and it might only get worse because their next rotation option is Stetson Bennett. Gardner Minshew, seen here resurrecting from the dead after 3 days, was the best passer in this stretch. I mean, he threw 4,600 yards, 32 touchdowns. That's a great, solid second option for Kansas City. It's funny because Kirk Cousins actually performed a lot better than Michael Penix, because you would think he would be the #1 option in Atlanta. I do remember saying Green Bay would be a good team because of the rotation. Malik Willis threw 40 touchdowns. And as for some teams, you can see how this can screw him over because Brady Cook, the second option for Detroit, threw more interceptions than touchdowns. Now up to game 51, we've reached the 3rd rotation of quarterbacks. The best quarterback in the league on this rotation is Jameis Winston. He's the only one above 70 overall. A lot of familiar names will be starting though. Desmond Ridder, Kenny Pickett, Jake Browning. But as we get further and further down, it is just a lot of backup quarterbacks. A lot of them have yet to probably take a snap in the NFL as a professional quarterback. We'll just see how this one goes. Well, here's the season passing leaders. You have Easton Stick with the Buffalo Bills. Then you have another Kansas City Chief. All 3 options are good. I don't even know this dude's first name. I'm gonna guess Jake Haener, and then you have Jake Browning. Let's take a look at the bottom of the standings, and you can see how some of these teams are really affected by having a bad rotation. The Commanders were the worst team in the league through this 17 games, finishing 4-13. The Chargers went 5-12 with no Justin Herbert. I don't even know who their 3rd option is. You got teams like the Bengals. You got teams like the Seahawks. Teams that would be good if they actually had their starting quarterback. But as for teams like the Baltimore Ravens, it doesn't matter who's starting quarterback, which is not reflecting how they're performing in real life, as they won 15 games in this stretch. The Jaguars, to my surprise, won 13 out of these 17 games. They're looking really good in the AFC. There really isn't a receiver close to Puka Nacua right now. I guess you could say Jamar Chase, who has 7 less catches, but a huge difference in yards and touchdowns. How about some of our running backs? Not only is Ashton Jeanty in the race for AFC Rookie of the Year, he has a chance at AFC MVP. Right now with 884 carries, 4,200 yards, and 43 touchdowns. I might give the slightest edge to Derrick Henry, however, who has about 50 more carries, about 500 more yards, definitely a lot less touchdowns, and that's why it's really 50-50 between these 2 running backs in the AFC. So a standings check through our first full rotation. All 3 quarterbacks have played for every single team. The AFC West has gotten a little bit close for the Kansas City Chiefs, as they're only up 4 games against the Raiders, who are in 2nd place. The Broncos down by 1 as well. The Chargers and Texans got some work to do. The AFC Central has still been a back and forth battle between the 2 best teams, the Ravens and Bills. 41-10, the best team in the AFC. I think the best best team in the league as well as the Baltimore Ravens, which I'm very surprised of at the moment. As for the AFC East, we keep on seeing things flip here as the Jaguars are now leading the division at 35-16. The Buccaneers don't even hold the second spot anymore. The Patriots jumped them. They're 32-19, and the Buccaneers are 31-20. The Jets and Dolphins, yeah, you can forget about them. And now for the NFC, where the Niners are still on top in the West, but there is a wild card battle between three teams at the moment in this division, with the Seahawks, Cowboys, and Rams, and the Cardinals are down by over 10 games compared to them. I'm very surprised about the NFC Central. Right now, it's just the Green Bay Packers, and it's not even close. The Lions are 12 games under the Green Bay Packers, and I am very disappointed with the bottom half of this division. The Chicago Bears, I thought they'd be pretty decent. They only have 13 wins. That's the worst in the NFL. They're 13-38. You remember how I was saying the Giants might not lose this division lead ever? Yeah, that was completely wrong because they lost the division lead, and the Eagles are now in front by 2 games, 30-21. The Giants are still in the race. I'm not going to count them out quite yet. All right, let's jump ahead to the midseason mark to take a look how the league is performing. At the halfway mark, there's 2 teams from the opposing conferences that stand out the most. With the most wins in both conferences at 62 is the Packers and Ravens. How about some of the most pleasantly surprising? The Giants currently have 49 wins. The Jaguars still going strong as well with 57 wins. How about some teams I'm kind of disappointed with at the halfway mark of the season, as the Colts not doing so well compared to real life. They have 38 wins, and the Broncos similar. They have 36 wins. But nobody, and I mean nobody, has been more depressing than the Chicago Bears, to my surprise, who only have 22 wins through 85 games. So I can finally piece together a playoff picture through the halfway mark of this season. Now, this is how the MLB playoffs actually works in real life as well, as 12 teams will make it, just how the NFL playoffs used to be. There used to be 4 byes, 2 for each conference, and then 12 teams in total. But before we go any further in the regular season, let's take a look at some stats. I'm not showing you all players I'm tracking, just the ones that caught my attention, starting with Patrick Mahomes, who could be the leading candidate for the AFC Cy Young, with 800 completions, just around 1,200 attempts at a 67% completion rating. Josh Allen is actually neck and neck with him for the Cy Young Award for the AFC. He might actually be the better candidate because he has less completions and less attempts, but he has the better completion percentage. He has 8,700 yards, just 1 touchdown less than Mahomes, and then 2 interceptions less than Mahomes, 79-12. Right now, the leading candidate for the Cy Young in the NFC, I'd say, would be Matthew Stafford, who has 726 completions to around 1,100 attempts for a 66% completion rating. I can almost confidently say this even at the mid-season mark that Puka Nacua might be running away with the NFC MVP. To show you the next closest receiver, we're going to go to Jamar Chase just to show you the difference. He has 517 receptions. Now, yes, his yards per reception is close, but he has a lot less yards and a lot less touchdowns. He's under 7,000 yards and 55 touchdowns. Puka Nacua has 30 more touchdowns than Jamar Chase. Now let's go to Derrick Henry, who might be leading as the AFC MVP at the moment, and that is because he just gets so many attempts. He has 1,500 attempts and averaging 5.2 yards per carry. Because he has so much attempts, he has a lot of yards as well, just under 8,000, and he has 58 touchdowns. Another solid runner is Jonathan Taylor, who's been on a tear in real life. He has 1,200 attempts, so a lot less than Derrick Henry, but very similar yards per carry, with 6,700 yards and 64 touchdowns. And then one more player for now, Ashton Genty, who might be our leading candidate for the AFC Rookie of the Year. He has 1,400 attempts, 4.6 yards per carry, 6,600 yards, and 63 touchdowns. So now simulating up to game 102, we're on the third line of quarterbacks. Look how even the league was in this stretch. The Vikings were the best team with only 12 wins. A lot of teams just paid tribute to the Pittsburgh Steelers during this stretch. So many 9-8 and 8-9 teams. That's just what happens when all these teams have third-string quarterbacks. Jake Browning got the passing crown in this stretch for the most passing yards, but he threw more interceptions than touchdowns. I would say Bailey Zappi was the most impressive quarterback here, though, with 4,000 yards, 38 touchdowns, and 17 interceptions. Where I think it's fair to say the worst was Jalen Milroe, the rookie out of Alabama, throwing for 16 touchdowns and 26 interceptions. On to game 153. These are important games. It's the final stretch of the third rotation. Okay, the Colts win 13 games in this stretch. That's huge. I mean, they are definitely probably in a wild card spot now. The Giants finished with 12 wins. That's pretty good. I need to know how the Eagles did, however, because they're currently down by 5 games in the NFC East, I believe. The Eagles, where are they at? Oh, there they are. They won 8 games. Okay, so that's a 4-game jump for the Giants. They have a chance. Jameis Winston's performance in this 17-game stretch was a huge reason why the Giants have a chance to win the division, throwing 31 touchdowns and almost 4,000 yards. And now with 9 remaining games in the regular season, our playoffs are starting to look finalized. In the West, every single team got eliminated except the Kansas City Chiefs, who are AFC West champions. They are currently 89-64 with 9 more games to play. We also determined the winner of the AFC Central as the Baltimore Ravens pulled out in front, have clinched the #1 seed, and have won the AFC Central with a current record of 104-49. The Buffalo Bills could not keep up, but they did clinch a playoff spot as well with 91 wins. But the impressive late season run the Colts have been on puts them in a wild card position at the moment as they jumped the Steelers by 5 games teams who miraculously still have a chance, but their chances are very low. As for the AFC East, the Jaguars have not won the division yet. They just need to win one more game to clinch the division over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are both currently locked in a playoff spot. So yeah, we've essentially locked all the 6 AFC playoff teams. It would be crazy if somehow the Steelers and Patriots sneak in. At this point, it's just determining the order and placement of where the teams will play in the playoffs. The same kind of goes for the NFC, but I'll be eyeing one thing down as we've reached our final 9 games. In the NFC West, we don't have a clinch for the division champion quite yet, as the Niners are just 1 game out from doing just that. And same goes for the Central in this conference as well, as we have the number 1 seed. The Central champions for the NFC is the Green Bay Packers, who are sitting at a 109-44 record, which means it is still on the table that they can be the best ever team in an MLB linked season. 116 wins was set by the 2001 Seattle Mariners. They can still do it. And a slither of good news for Chicago Bears fans, I can tell you that you guys would not be the worst ever team in an MLB season. Now, this is the one thing I will be paying attention to for these last 9 games, and it's the NFC East, which has been very interesting this entire regular season. Back and forth between the Eagles and Giants, the only 2 teams left in contention from this division. So yeah, that's what it boils down to in this conference. Let's just hope the Giants can stay competitive against the NFC East Eagles. Sometimes things happen in sports that feel like they're scripted, and that even goes for my videos, because with 9 games remaining in the regular season, look who the Giants play twice before their final 9 games: the Eagles and the Eagles. The first meeting with 4 games left in the season, the Giants are trying to close this gap. They need to win this game. A Giants win would make the difference 1 game in the standings, but the Eagles are not going to let that happen if they keep hitting first downs. But A.J. Brown fumbles the football, and the Giants pick it up at the 8-yard line. New York isn't even starting their first option as well, as Russell Wilson is a quarterback, and I guess that's the right option because he delivers to the 28. Giants have done an awful job milking this clock, however, as they might get this football right back to the Eagles, and this is incomplete. Why are we passing? Let's drain some clock at least. As we approach the 3-minute mark, Dexter Lawrence double teamed on his X Factor, Jalen Hurts, to Devontae Smith knows Jahan Dotson to the 15-yard line. This puts Jalen Hurts in an uncomfortable situation, needing the pass, but it works out, and A.J. Brown makes up for that awful fumble, and he's in the end zone to tie the game at 17. The Giants just completely forgot how to play football in these last few minutes, and now they'll let the Eagles have a chance to win this game. Dallas Goedert, and Dallas Goedert's at the 43-yard line in New York territory, where the Eagles will attempt a 55-yard kick to win the game and go up 2 games of the Giants in a very slow motion manner. The kick is good by Jake Elliott. An absolute collapse for the New York Giants at the end. Yeah, I don't think that's a possibility anymore, as the Giants will lose back-to-back games. The Eagles destroyed them in the second meeting. I'm worried that they might not even make the playoffs because they finished their final 9 games 4-5. So that's a wrap on the regular season, as we've narrowed it down to the 6 teams in both conferences. In the AFC West, the Chiefs come out on top. The Central, it's the Ravens, and the East, it's the Jaguars, following the 3 wild cards, the Bills, the Colts, and the Buccaneers. And then the NFC, the West is the 49ers, the Central is, of course, the Green Bay Packers, and the East ended up being the Philadelphia Eagles, with the wild cards being the Rams, the Lions, and the Giants. I think I was overreacting a little bit on the Giants. They still had a comfortable lead going into the final 9 games. I guess I was comparing them a little too much to the likings of the other New York team that plays baseball, the New York Mets. I mean, the big difference between the Giants and the Mets is that at least one of them choked and made the playoffs. Well, another good comparison is that the Mets have a bajillion-dollar payroll compared to the New York Giants, who have 2 white boys in the Rookie of the Year. One of them looks like Anakin Skywalker, the other one looks like the dude from the Croods. But yeah, this is the finalized playoff bracket, which honestly a little anticlimactic. Not a lot of changes. It was basically the same teams on top every single simulation I did. But we'll get to this in just a moment because I want to go over all the stats I kept and all the award winners. Let me quick fire this because I'm turning into a graphic merchant in this video. Mahomes finished with 1,500 passing yards, 133 touchdowns, and 20 interceptions. It's neck and neck with him and Josh Allen for the AFC Cy Young, as Josh Allen threw similar yards, touchdowns, and interceptions. However, he did it on like 200 less completions. That might have given him the leg up. In NFC quarterback, Matthew Stafford did really well this season with 129 touchdowns to 20 interceptions, 1,500 yards as well. Dak Prescott reached the 16,000 yard threshold, but he threw way less touchdowns and 28 interceptions. Baker Mayfield was proficient throwing the football, but he didn't throw the football as much as I thought he would. Don't think these numbers reflect how well Drake May is actually playing in real life with a 61% completion rating, 85 touchdowns and 31 interceptions. He's definitely better than that, I think. It looks very goofy that I stat tracked Dylan Gabriel, but the reason is because I wanted an AFC rookie quarterback. Yeah, he did not do well at all. He had under a 60% completion rating, 75 touchdowns and 55 interceptions. That is pretty bad. Whereas the rookie quarterback I kept track of in the NFC did a little bit better than that. 100 touchdowns or 45 interceptions. Onto the skill position players. Puka Nacua, lights out. 15 yards per reception, 1,000 receptions, 1,500 yards, 162 touchdowns. He averaged a touchdown a game. That's absolutely insane. I really didn't show you guys any other players for the simulation because nobody did even close to that good. Look at Justin Jefferson, for example. 850 yards, 68 touchdowns? Not even close. Jackson Smith-Njigba has been the best wide receiver in real life at the time of recording this video. Did not reflect as well here in the simulation. Amon-Ra St. Brown did put up 13.7 yards per reception, but he did not get as much receptions as I thought he would. I figured George Pickens would be a good player to stat track, considering Dak Prescott's always good at throwing a football in Madden simulation. I guess it turned okay. For the rookie wide receiver I kept track of the NFC, Emeka Egbuka, he did pretty well with yards per reception, but he didn't get as much receptions, not even that much touchdowns as well. Whereas for the other rookie receiver, Ted McMillan, with 630 receptions, 54 touchdowns, a bit better in that department. And the only receiver I kept track of in the AFC, that just goes to show how unbalanced the conferences with the receivers are right now. Jamar Chase finished with 1,000 receptions, 117 touchdowns, and under 1,500 yards. The second best receiver, of course, behind Puka Nacua. On to running backs, Derrick Henry with almost 2,900 attempts on the ground today. Absolutely insane numbers, with 110 touchdowns and 1,500 yards. Jonathan Taylor with 300 less carries, averaged the same yards per carry, had 2,000 less yards almost, but 20 more touchdowns. Rookie running back Ashton Jeanty got his number called quite a bit, but he only carried for 4.6 yards per carry, but did find the end zone 109 times. But all his numbers were better than James Cook, who found the end zone 96 times off of 2,500 attempts. Another rookie running back, Omarion Hampton for the Chargers, finished with just over 10,000 yards and 100 touchdowns. Bijan Robinson out of the NFC, not as productive as I thought he would, but still solid numbers. Nothing really stands out over the top for Christian McCaffrey. And finally, I'll say the same thing for Jahmyr Gibbs. And the final graphic today, the superlatives and the awards. Take a deep breath. The best team today, of course, the Green Bay Packers, who tied the Seattle Mariners for the most wins ever in an MLB length of a season. The worst team, however, was the Chicago Bears at 50 wins, and I'm really disappointed by this because the way they've been playing in real life does not reflect how the Madden simulation put them at. The most surprising I'm giving to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They do have a chance to make the playoffs in real life, but I was a little surprised that they ended up winning 100 games in this season. And the most disappointing, I decided to give to the Washington Commanders, which I know they're an old, banged-up team at the moment, but I was expecting a little bit more than 65 wins out of them. And for the awards, we'll start with the AFC MVP. I had to give the Derrick Henry. I know other running backs might have better numbers, but I mean, how do you manage to pick up that much attempts off the ground in a 162-game season? How do you stay healthy for that long? I don't know. Derrick Henry just defines all the odds there. The AFC Cy Young, or the best quarterback in the AFC, I decided to give it to Josh Allen. I think he had the leg up on Mahomes even by throwing 200 less passes because he had more passing touchdowns. And the AFC Rookie of the Year, it was obviously going to be Ashton Jeanty, who put up a really great workload similar to the numbers of Derrick Henry, just a little bit less in the touchdowns and yards. Now for the MVP in the NFC, of course, I said this earlier, it was always going to be Puka Nacua. Nobody was even close to him in that department. The Cy Young for the NFC ended up being his quarterback, Matthew Stafford. Now, this actually made me wonder something. When was the last time in MLB that the Cy Young and the MVP came from the same team? A quick Google search tells me the last time this happened was in 2013 on the Detroit Tigers, where the MVP was Miggy Cabrera and the Cy Young was Max Scherzer. And the Rookie of the Year in the NFC, I decided to give it to Jackson Dart because both the receivers did not impress me as much, so I guess tie goes to the quarterback in this case. So it's time to begin the playoffs. As we know for postseason baseball, it's not single elimination like the NFL. They play a series of games, and that's exactly what I'll be replicating. So in the wild card in the MLB playoff, it is a best of 3, all games hosted by the better team. Moving on to the second round, which is where currently the byes will sit, that is called the divisional series. That is a best of 5 series. And then you get to the conference series, or what we know as a conference championships in the NFL. That's going to be a best of 7. And then the World Series, of course, is also a best of 7. And one more thing, I am implementing the same quarterback rotation through the playoffs, so the starting quarterbacks cannot play back-to-back games. Should be pretty interesting. Let's go around the wild card round. Game 1 will be stolen by the Indianapolis Colts, probably the hottest team in the playoffs right now, who just reached the 60 in the AFC. Buffalo, however, was not messing around in their game 1 as they take down the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In the NFC, the New York Giants have lost 3 straight dating back to the regular season to the Philadelphia Eagles. And their final game 1, the Detroit Lions take care of business on the road. We'll now move on to the second line of quarterbacks in the game 2s. But it's going to come up to Kansas City's defense to force a game 3 here in Arrowhead. The Colts are down by 8 points. Anthony Richardson, the second option for the Colts. He gets a first down on Michael Pittman. Richardson steps up and runs, which is what he does exactly so well, and he's in the end zone for the Colts. 6 points. They need 2 more. I guess the Chiefs want to get the football back either way. Jonathan Taylor is in the end zone for the 2-point conversion. We're knotted up at 20. Now the game is in hands for Gardner Minshew to send this to game 3. Minshew winds up a wobbly pass, but he gets it off a completion to the 35-yard line. A clutch conversion to Hollywood Brown will put points on the board for the Kansas City Chiefs as Mahomes is holding the snap, but the Colts do get the football back. But the Colts were unable to come up with anything, and Kansas City will force a game 3. Now will Teddy Bridgewater force a game 3 as he picks up a first down on his legs, a little shifty move to the 4-yard line. And a very inaccurate pass by Bridgewater will set him up at the 1 to Egbuka. That's one of those plays where you wish Baker Mayfield was throwing the football, but it doesn't matter because Bridgewater sneaks it through and they have a lead over Buffalo. And Mitch Trubisky cannot come up with a response. There'll be a game 3 in Buffalo as well. I've said many times today, their quarterback rotation might might be their leg up. Can Russell Wilson prove it here? He gets to the outside. He runs for the corner. Russell Wilson ties the game at 13. Now the extra point to take the lead up 14-13. Yes. And on the first play, the Giants force a fumble. There will be a Game 3 at Lincoln Financial. Okay, I think it's safe to say that all wildcard series are going to a Game 3 as the Lions destroy the Rams in Game 2. So it seriously comes down to the third option at quarterback for all these teams to advance their team to the next round. That's kind of scary. For the Colts, it comes down to Riley Leonard, Jake Haener on the Chiefs, Dorian Thompson-Robinson on the Buccaneers, Easton Stick on the Bills, famous Jameis Winston for the Giants, Tanner McKee for the Eagles, Stetson the Mailman Bennett the fourth for the Rams, and Kyle Allen for the Lions. Yep, this is just about as much as I expected in a game between Riley Leonard and Jake Haener. 3-3, Jonathan Taylor takes the handoff, bounces towards the outside, picks up the first down. Don't think you can depend on Jonathan Taylor here though. 3rd down and 11, Leonard, a clutch completion in the end zone as Pittman, the first touchdown of the game for the Colts. That proved to be the fire starter in Game 3. The Colts will move on. They win 17-3 over the Kansas City Chiefs. In Game 3 between the Bills and Buccaneers, Easton Stick will take care of business, winning 26-13 as they move on to the next round. It's up to famous Jameis to upset the Eagles here in Game 3. 7 yards short of midfield, here's close to a first down to Bellinger as he reaches for it, but that was an awful mistake because he fumbles and he can't get back on it. The Eagles will get this football right back. What was he doing? So out comes Tanner McKee as they're just going to run the football to Barkley, and he's going to get to the outside and picks up a first down, and that's going to ice Game 3. The Eagles have had the Giants number this entire video, and they will punch their way to the second round of the NFC. Game 3 between the Lions and Rams, Stetson Bennett connects to Devontae Adams, an 81-yard touchdown. Does Kyle Allen and the Detroit Lions have any response? 4th and 18, well short, no. The Rams will defend their house, and they'll move on to the divisional series against the Green Bay Packers. Now we move on to the divisional series with 8 remaining teams. These are a best-of-5 series with the format going 2-2-1. Our starting quarterbacks take the mound in Game 1, a huge win for Indiana Jones and the Indianapolis Colts. Game 1 between the Bills and Ravens will go to Baltimore. Lamar Jackson's playing at a high level in the playoffs. That's a surprise. Jalen Hurts goes on the road and drops 35 points on this 49ers defense to win Game 1. The Rams come out firing off every cylinder against the Green Bay Packers, stealing Game 1 in Lambeau. In our Game 2s, the Jaguars will even this series going to Indianapolis. Game 2 between the Bills and Ravens, Mitchell Trubisky trying to get a playoff win. Yes, that's a crazy statement to say. 4th and 5 in overtime, Rush needs to get the conversion. He steps in the throw, and wide open is a receiver to the 21-yard line. Zay Flowers will keep Game 2 alive. Shovel pass. What is Cooper Rush doing there? 90 seconds remaining. Cooper Rush is intercepted by the Bills. The Bills will even this series and might put some points on the board just to show, as we'll go back to Buffalo tied at 1. A pick 6 to seal the game here in Buffalo. The series is tied. In the NFC, Mac Jones will not be able to win Game 2. They lose both games at home, and the Eagles have a 2-0 series lead going to Philadelphia. Malik Willis will come out in front over Jimmy Garoppolo. They'll win Game 2 and they even this series at Los Angeles. So we shift locations as the Philadelphia Eagles are the first team today to have a 2-0 series lead. Game 3, Riley Leonard dismantles the Jaguars and they have a 2-1 series lead. 260 yards for 4 touchdowns. Nick Mullins didn't stand a chance. The Bills will win back-to-back games. They will have a 2-1 series lead as well. Tanner McKee and the Eagles are looking to sweep the 49ers as they reach Philadelphia. A good first down to Devontae Smith. I don't think it really matters who plays quarterback for this team. Everywhere is stacked. Saquon Barkley gets the first down. Oh my goodness, Saquon Barkley fumbled. Saquon Barkley fumbled. He got hit stick, and here's a return for the 49ers, which is going to be a house call. San Francisco will go up 27-20. I'm just expecting Barkley to run this clock out, and they'll kick a game-winning field goal, but instead the Niners looks like they're going to prevent a sweep. Eagles are now trying to put this game in overtime with 15 seconds. Devontae Smith gets a first down. 16 seconds ago, Tanner McKee has to watch out. He's going to run for a first down. He needs to find the end zone, but he's tackled at the 3. Do they get one more play? I don't think so. No, the game is over, and the Niners will steal this one, delaying the Eagles from moving on to the conference series. And as for our Game 3 between Green Bay and Los Angeles, the Packers will take care of business on the road. On to our Game 4s, the Indianapolis Colts are the first team to clinch their way to the conference series. You know who will be meeting the Colts in the conference series? The Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen takes the mound and takes down the Ravens, winning 3 straight games. The Niners need a touchdown drive if they want to force a Game 5 back home in San Francisco. We're starting with a completion of 7. No George Kittle for the 49ers at the 2-minute warning. Here's an open catch by their backup tight end who's taking over George Kittle's spot at the moment. It's a 1st and goal at the 7. Eagles would not call a timeout as they let 30 seconds bleed off the clock, and this is incomplete, so now the clock stops. Now the Niners have to worry about just scoring the touchdown in the first place. Brock Purdy rolls out, and Purdy runs in the end zone to tie this game at 20. They take over the 23. A.J. Brown gets a first down to the 36. Last time we saw the Eagles in this position, Barkley fumbled the game away. He doesn't want to do the same here. 50 seconds ago, no timeouts called. Jalen Hurts up the middle, just gets absolutely nose-driven by Fred Warner. He holds onto the football. football, though. That's not a linebacker you want to run face-to-face with. And Barkley fumbles again! Barkley fumbles again! The Niners jump on it. Oh my goodness. What? The same recovery goes to D. Withers again. Barkley is absolutely selling this series to the 49ers. D. Withers causes the fumble and jumps on it. The second fumble recovery in this series for him. Unbelievable. There will be a Game 5 in San Francisco. Will there also be a Game 5 in Green Bay? Jordan Love needs a first down in overtime. No, out of bounds. Romeo Doubs had a foot out of bounds. Packers got to punt the football away. The Rams put any points on the board. We're going to Game 5. The Rams will do just that. They go down the field, get a touchdown. Game 5 in Lambeau. Game 5 in San Francisco. Mac Jones needs 8 points. Quick slant. Juwan Jennings gets absolutely dummied down to the 1-yard line. We like to call that one a hospital pass, but at least it sets up shop at the 1-yard line where Mac Jones is intercepted. Entering hits Russell Wilson to Cooper DeJean, and the Eagles will hold on. As long as Saquon Fumbly doesn't touch the football good, we're yelling it away. The Eagles survive a scare in Game 5. There will not be a Game 5 scare in Lambeau as the Packers will take down both the NFC MVP and Cy Young on the Los Angeles Rams. So we move on to the NFC and AFC Conference Series, the first best of 7s in the playoffs. And honestly, looking at this is a realistic possible AFC and NFC championship matchups for this year. The way it's formatted is 2-3-2. The Bills will start at home in the AFC and the Packers will start at home in the NFC. Starters are back out there in Game 1 and Josh Allen takes down the Indianapolis Colts for a 1-0 series lead. Green Bay would not be able to do the same as they'll have to rely on their second and third lines to get some wins of the Eagles. Game 2s, could the Indianapolis Colts finally be running out of steam? Surely Green Bay wants to even this series before we go to Philadelphia, and Josh Jacobs gets in field goal range. Green Bay sends out Brandon McManus for a go-ahead field goal to take the lead, 34-31. And the Packers will hold on, a very important win before we head back to Philadelphia. I don't think who's home or who's away matters for this series, as the Colts will go down 3-0 in the series. They're channeling their inner Milwaukee Brewers just north of them. In Game 3, the Green Bay Packers still won from the Eagles. The Eagles have been pretty bad at home in this playoff run so far. Josh Allen is the starter for game number 4. Can they put this series to bed? James Cook is close to a first down. They pick this one up. That'll essentially be it. 3rd down and 1 from the 6. It's a sneak, and no, Josh Allen is short. It's 4th and 1. They're going to play this super safe, just kick a field goal, but Indiana Jones gets the football. Daniel Jones from the 35, first down. Into Bills territory, no timeouts, however. 90 seconds, Daniel Jones for a first down. Daniel Jones slides at the 31. 60 seconds remaining, Daniel Jones floats it up to Josh Downs. Catch at the 4-yard line. 40 seconds left to go. From the 4, Daniel Jones wants to run again. He runs right into an offensive lineman. That takes the clock down to 15 seconds, 14 seconds. This is thankfully in the end zone thanks to Jonathan Taylor making a huge juke move right at the end. I mean, this really could have been the end of the game. If Jonathan Taylor gets tackled right here, game over. Here's to tie the game at 15. Jones to pass. Jones, easy the downs. It's tied at 15. Buffalo goes right down the field in overtime, and they are 1 yard short of the end zone. Will they hold the Bills to 3? They will not. It's in the end zone. The Colts will do the exact same thing again. They have a long 3rd down. They'll need to convert. Daniel Jones, 3rd and 8. He wants way more than 8 yards as he shoots one deep down the left sideline, incomplete. I think we should have settled for 8 there. Therefore, it comes down to this. Will the Bills defense stop them and clinch their way to the World Series in a sweep? No, they would not. They leave Tyler Warren wide open as he runs to the 28. Let's see if they can get a response, and touchdown for the Colts. Josh Downs, great catch. No, it's Michael Pittman, and they're looking to tie this game in overtime. Honestly surprised they're not going for 2 here because Josh Allen gets it right back. Sudden death, a field goal will win it. Josh Allen escapes the pressure. Allen runs for the first down. This is exactly what I was scared for the Colts, as Josh Allen already at midfield, and here's the first down as they close in on field goal range. The Colts fought hard to prevent a sweep, but I think they got what was coming for them. Here's a game-winning kick to send the Buffalo Bills to the World Series and a 4-0 sweep. A great season for the Colts. The Bills will win 25-22. The NFC has been a different story, however, as the Eagles will tie this at 2-2. We'll stay right here in Philadelphia for Game 5 as the Green Bay Packers will take a series lead, sending it back home to Lambeau to close it out. Comes down to Tanner McKee to force a Game 7. Saquon Barkley does not fumble the football this time, although 5 Packers were trying to rip it out of him. It goes to Barkley's way again, and he cannot hit the outside. It's a loss of 2 yards, and he's injured. 3rd down and 5, and Barkley is on the sidelines from the 7. Tanner McKee steps up, and he is in the end zone. No, he fumbles in the end zone. It's a touchback. The Green Bay Packers recover. Javon Bullard recovers the football. The Packers are 3 minutes away from the World Series. The fumbles is what cost the Philadelphia Eagles in the playoffs as Jeff Driscoll takes the knee. The Green Bay Packers Packers will join the Bills in the World Series. And so it's down to the Bills and Packers for the first team to win 4 games. This is definitely a realistic Super Bowl matchup for this year. Let's see what happens if they play a best of 7. Game number 1 of the World Series goes to the Buffalo Bills. The Green Bay Packers looking pretty weak to start these series. But where the Green Bay Packers have excelled is when Malik Willis gets his chance as he takes down Mitch Trubisky and the Buffalo Bills. A familiar spot for the Green Bay Packers as they will shift locations now to Buffalo, tied at series 1-1. And in Game 3, Easton Stick brings it to the Green Bay Packers, dropping 38 points. He threw for nearly 300 yards, 4 touchdowns on 72% completion rating, a lot better than Jeff Driscoll. Starting rotation back out there as Jordan Love is going to try his hardest not to go down 3-1 in this series. It's 3rd down and 8 in overtime. I low-key have no clue who got the ball first, but let's just see if Green Bay gets his first down. Yes, they will. Romeo Doubs to the 24. Another 3rd down, this time it's at the 20, 3rd and 6. Jordan Love, end zone, touchdown, Romeo Doubs, they'll go up by 6. Josh Allen was in this position not so long ago, Game 4 against the Colts, but this time it's a 3rd and 15, and he gets a conversion to around midfield. Allen from the 50, Allen escapes the pressure, Allen steps up and runs for the first down, and he gets it. Scanning the field, Allen gets rid of it, and another first down to the 19. Green Bay does not have an answer for their starting ace. Allen steps up and runs once again, another first down. 4 consecutive first downs for Josh Allen and the Bills. Now to find the end zone from 3 yards out, staying in the flat, good tackle. Loss of 5 yards, Micah Parsons double team. Josh Allen is going to run for the end zone, and he's in, and the Packers looking to get back on the board to win it in sudden death. Green Bay cannot afford to go down 3-1 in this series. Jordan Love needs 11. 2nd and 11. Romeo Doubs is clutch once again. Passing from midfield. 2nd and 4. Good catch by Matthew Golden. Getting closer and closer to range for Brandon McManus. They might just run it in for the end zone. Tackled at the 2-yard line. They won't take a pooch kick with Brandon McManus as a huge Green Bay Packer victory to tie this series up at 2. And they'll have one more game in Buffalo as it will be Mitchell Trubisky against Malik Willis. But Mitchell Trubisky will get the best of Malik Willis, sending them back to Green Bay with a 3-2 series lead. But not so fast for the Bills to close this one out as Jeff Driscoll will force a Game 7 here in Green Bay. It's Jordan Love against Josh Allen. The 2 best words in sports, Game 7. It's for all the marbles here. Both starting quarterbacks are fully rested for the final game today. The Packers-Bills meet in Lambeau. Could definitely be one of those instances of whoever has the ball last will win this game here in Game 7. The Packers down by 3. Josh Jacobs right up the middle. The Packers are now up by 4 points. Still a lot of time left in this game, however. 3rd and 2. Slant is complete to the 45. James Cook gets the handoff. Good move. He gets to the 40. Another good move to around the 37. Now in Packers territory, looking to put up 7. Coleman with a drop. 3rd and 7. Josh Allen, here comes a blitz right at the line, but no, another drop. It's 4th and 7. First it was Coleman, then it was Palmer. They need somebody to catch this one. 4th and 7. They want more than 7. Up the left sideline. Another drop by Coleman. 3 straight incompletions, the Packers take over. At this point, just let Josh Allen throw the ball to himself because that is ridiculous. Bills could definitely get this back. 3rd and 7. Josh Jacobs, first down. A huge first down, but they're going to need another one. 3rd and 6. Down goes Jordan Love. It's a sack for 4th and 14. Packers were only able to drain up around 2 minutes of clock. James Cook takes the check down, and James Cook is short of the markers. Bills get another shot. This time they have 2 minutes, and Josh Allen runs for the first down, and he goes backwards after that collision to the 49. Micah Parsons is a name I haven't said once throughout this entire playoff run. Maybe the announcer curse will kick in. Josh Allen is a wide open receiver. Here comes the drops again. 3rd down and 10. 3 rush for the Packers. There's a step for a receiver, and this time it's a catch. It's a first down to the 18. 60 seconds remaining from the 18. Allen, end zone. Touchdown, Bills. The Bills are up front with 58 seconds. Dalton Kincaid will put the Bills up 3 points. Will we see Game 7 go to extra innings? Jordan Love from the 24. Jordan Love to Matthew Golden to the 41. Timeout with 42 seconds. The pure speed by rookie receiver Matthew Golden. Jordan Love once more. Jordan Love has a completion to the 20. This time Romeo Doubs. I think it's safe to say we will be seeing this. No, it's blocked. It is blocked. The Bills blocked the field goal and will have a recovery in slow motion. Is this seriously how I have to watch this go down? Is this entire thing just going to be a slow motion chase as the Bills block a field goal? Will Bosa get caught? No, he will not. Slowly making his way, James Bond style, in the end zone. Joey Bosa will walk off this World Series with a blocked field goal in Game 7. Unbelievable. No extra innings. That is like the equivalent of hitting a grand slam in the bottom of the 9th inning. The craziest way to win the World Series. The Buffalo Bills get it done in 7. Unbelievable. The simulation just gave us peak football right there, as the Bills will win the World Series, finishing with a 13-5 postseason record, and impressively enough won the World Series as a wildcard team. They were the 4th seed and finished the regular season with 98 wins. Now, honestly, I'm kind of glad the Green Bay Packers didn't get it done, time, because every time the Packers do succeed in my videos, I have to find a way to defend myself from being a Packers fan. I mean, you saw the Packers flags behind me this entire video. And with over 2,500 games, that is what would happen if the NFL played a baseball schedule. So thank you guys for watching. This video is always a super long video to make, so I'd appreciate any support you can leave on this video. That being said, I will see you guys later.